actually lazy. I mean, with our experience of flat earthers, even the ones that either believe or don't believe in it, all of them have one thing that's ubiquitously in common with them all, is that they don't want to actually go out and learn the actual stuff. They either don't have the ability,
I have an uncle who said, well, I'm never going to vote for a Democrat because I'm a veteran. Yeah, so let's go down through the history of what the Republicans have been doing to your veterans' benefits, and which Democrats have been standing up as heroes to try to make sure you still have veterans' benefits. But we can't have that.
The Republicans are paying.
There's just no talking. Yeah. I'm a Republican. You don't talk to me. That's it. That's the end of this discussion.
Yeah, I mean,
but
because
the Republicans have until it kills me.
Because the Republicans have the image that of a patriot. If you're a Republican, that means patriot. Right. If you're a Democrat, that means social justice. You're only after the minorities and trying to push special interest on people who don't want those things pushed on them. It's not that they know anything about the issues themselves or which party is voting in what direction.
Well, that's the mystifying thing. The issues don't even matter. They're not even to be discussed.
Yeah, it's
what do you do?
There's a strong dichotomy between Republicans and Democrats, such that they think that you can't cross that dividing line. And I agree with you. The Republicans seem to have mastered that image of American, nostalgia, American Pie, mom, and baseball, and gun toting. I don't think that's really the case. I think the Republican Party has changed dramatically in my own life. I would go back to the old school type Reagan era of republicanism, but I'm a social justice. I'm not social. I'm socially leaning liberal, but I mean, this is the state of our politics, that both parties don't have anything to offer anybody anymore. I think.
Well, he's going to win again. It's hard for us to look at both parties in the sense of both parties. I mean, because do you realize that independent parties, there are numerous independent parties that now outnumber, collectively, they outnumber Democrats and Republicans combined.
Yep.
So there is a problem with the two-party system, because if you don't want to vote Republican, who are very obviously a huge problem on a lot of their policies, and I can't find anybody who can defend anything on the Republican platform, anything that Trump has done that they can actually say is a good thing to do, or that they can defend as such. So, well, I'm proud of the tax cuts, which don't benefit anybody but the super rich, and doesn't benefit the person who's telling me that they're proud of those tax cuts.
Right. That's the crazy thing.
What the hell are you on about? Show me something that would. But we were still on the politics thing. We weren't going to do that this episode.
Velocity of politics.
It seems inescapable, though. Here's the last thing I'll say about it. I am terrifyingly afraid that he's going to win again, and I don't know why. I can't understand how that would happen again, but I have this very sinking feeling that it's going to happen again.
Well, we were thinking, I don't know if Aron remembers, you remember back just before, or it was just after, I think, either Trump got elected or was nominated in office, we had a hangout with DPR Jones, and we were talking about the probability of him being impeached within a certain amount of time. And I believe you took 6 months.
I took 6 months and what?
How long it would take before Trump got impeached. And I think you took 6 months. I took a year, but
I gave too much credit. Remember when you said I give too much credit to people, that I think that they're smarter than they are? They habitually disappoint me.
Yep. Amen. I think that sums up everything with politics and the religious.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this. I really wasn't expecting this. When Trump got up there and said that sure, his intelligence agencies say that it was the Russians, but he has Putin saying that it's not the Russians. And so who's he going to believe? He's going to believe Putin, right? But then the next day he does the wouldn't thing. But if you take into context what he said the previous day, the rest of what he said the previous day, and the addition of what he said that day too, he said, might have been the Russians, could have been a lot of other people too. That is not accepting what your intelligence agencies, because they didn't say could have been a lot of other people too. Could have been the Russians. No, they said it was the Russians, not a lot of other people.
Well, he doesn't accept his science advisors either, so.
Right, he doesn't. Well, but he's lying to the public both times.
Sure.
The intelligence agencies
is how the Republicans then say, "Oh, well, he changed would to wouldn't," and so we could ignore everything that he just said and everything that he said the previous day, and everything
I'll tell you why.
prior to that as well. And so we'll just say, "Oh, he clarified and he's corrected it," when obviously he hasn't. The man just said it was an incredible idea that we should let dictators name our citizens that we would then extradite to them with no evidence of wrongdoing because some dictator says, I want that guy dead.
Wow.
Now, fortunately, Congress stood against him unanimously. And this is one of those, how rare is it?
Yeah.
Get a unanimous vote out of Congress.
You're fucked up when all of Congress is against him.
But he's still in power. They voted unanimously against him because that was such an atrocious thing to do, but nobody will speak out against him. Now, in private, off the record, they'll say, as long as you don't post my name, they'll say, I can't vote against him because it would be political suicide.
Right.
You can't denigrate the president because the president controls the party, or rather, the party controls the president to the point of using this incompetent to absorb the shots while they undermine the Constitution with him in that seat. And so that he takes the blame for everything, and they can get away with whatever they want to do, and that's why that's why they have this thing erected the way that they have, so that they can do.
The intelligence agencies don't have a P-tape that they can hold over Donald Trump's head, or some form of.
I don't think it's a P-tape. How ridiculous is that? Look at everything going against Trump. Would it matter if they had a P-tape at this point?
Nope.
I think they have something. I don't know if it's a P-tape, but I think they have
their age, and people want to give.
He's got something. He's got something on him because if you notice his body language around Putin, like Trump.
I think he's got something on Putin, but it's not like that. I think Putin has something on Trump.
Oh yeah.
The fact that Trump is mesmerized by real powerful people. Because Trump has a narcissistic personality disorder that causes him to look up to despots because they're the strong ones. That's why he expressed admiration for Hitler and for Mussolini and for Kim Jong, both Il and Un, and of course for Putin. Didn't he also say? I think he even praised Stalin at one point. So he loves dictators because they're the real powerful people, and he's terribly insecure in himself. You can have literally thousands of people protesting in the streets that he showed up in their country, and he will just pretend that there's always protesters for anybody that ever goes over there. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter that this is the first time ever that this has ever happened. He thinks it happens all the time, and he thinks there's other thousands that are protesting for or that are demonstrating for him.
No, and it has to be pretty something devastating. Bizarre. It's not just financial. It's not just something that would blow over. I think Putin has something that would be just unrecoverable for Trump, and that has to be something pretty.
He's going to empower Trump to be a king.
Yep. Or there's
collusion
all kind of
the extents we've never seen before.
Think about it. If Trump promises if Putin promises, for example, that Trump could have dictatorial power.
Yeah, you take it.
He'd be like, sign me there. There we go.
I think that the fact that we not only elected this man, but that the potential is still there to do it again, deserves some taking a step back and really looking at what's going on in the country, because there's a deeper issue when everybody sees what's going on with him. He's like the crazy uncle at a family reunion. He's crazy. You know what he's capable of, and you know that he could snap at any moment, but no one says anything at all. It's, Trump's dumb. He says stupid shit, but there's no way he'll do anything too crazy until he does something too crazy, and then it's too late.
Yeah, I mean,
he's already done. He's already done stuff that is too crazy, and that would never have been tolerated in any prior president.
No, wasn't he just threatening Iran in a tweet just like yesterday or something like that?
Yeah, what would the Republicans have done or said about if Obama had done any one of the things that Trump has done?
They would have lost their shit.
Well, he wasn't born here, so they don't really take that into. That's the fucked up part. We voted the very man that came out and said that the president that we voted in twice wasn't born here. We then turned around and voted him in office. That's what's insane.
Indirectly,
and
he's
then he
calling
said,
other people stupid by doing that.
And then Trump said that Obama was born here, period, and then retracted that same point again.
Yeah, I don't know how any of this works any longer. I just don't understand it.
Trump is out of his
large part of it.
That's what it is. I heard some guy describe it beautifully the other day, where he says that Trump is like a 12-year-old at a meeting of microbiologists. You're completely lost, don't understand anything that's going on in any conversation. But he can't let on about that. So he waffles his way through discussions the same way that a child would waffle his way through a book report of a book he hadn't read. This is why Trump behaves and talks the way he does. He literally has no idea what he's talking about, ever.
But why do people like it? That's what I can't grasp.
Because he's undermining the Constitution in exactly the way the oligarchs of this country want him to.
No, I think
so they are going to praise him for that. And they're going to support him for that because he's also taking the blame and the fire. And when they get rid of him, they will have already ruined everything for everybody without any accountability. Trump will take the heat for it because he's too stupid to realize what a stooge he is.
Yeah, I think you said it best. It reminds me a lot of the episode of the Twilight Zone. It's a Good Life with Cloris Leachman and Billy Mooney, where the person got sent to the field. I think that people are scared of Trump and such. If you speak out against him, then like you said, it's political suicide. Because he is that little 12-year-old kid that's going to send you to the field. I think
a thug. He's a thug. But I think it had a lot to do with watching the world burn. I think people got into the voting booths. They didn't like their two choices, and they stopped a little bit too long when it came time to voting, where they said, you know what? I wonder what it would be like if Trump was president. It might be funny to see him. Exactly. It might be funny.
I can't take it back. I've said it millions of times prior to that. I wanted to see the world burn. I just didn't realize how hot of a temperature it would get to because I underestimated his incompetence.
But the problem is they don't see the world as burning. They see it as, for some reason, they don't see the things that I think most rational people see, the issues. They see it as, oh, there he is sticking it to the man again. That's why we voted him in. He tells it like it is. He's draining the swamp. Blah, 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 blah.
I'm going to do a podcast about environmental issues. And that's it's strange how badly we've got all of this. Just imagine that you go out to the beach and you're able to do something. You're able to build a house like in a minute, right? So you go out to the beach and you build your house in a minute, and you're not aware that the tide is going to come in and that the water is going to be 20 feet deeper than it is right now. You were in your house. You're good. Everything's fine right now. You don't somehow know what's coming. The United States, Americans in general, have no idea what they're bringing on. And the problems with the environmental issues is they are not just real and not just important. They're not even just the most important thing that we should be concerned about. They are more important than anything we've ever been concerned about.
Agreed. And they're rolling back regulations. This week, they rolled back. I forget what the two were, but they're making it easier to dump more shit into runoffs.
Yep.
So not only are we just not doing anything about it, we're now actually making it worse.
So I don't know what we were coming on here to talk about, but I guarantee you start talking about the environment, you're going to start shutting people down because that is the scariest thing we can talk about.
Well, I mean, I'm totally fine with talking about the climate. I think it's something that
might be, but I don't think your audience is.
Well, Steve can get a pulse for him. Well, if we want to go in a direction where we kind of get on to what we were going to talk about, I thought maybe it would be beneficial not only for for Steve and I, because doing this, we deal a lot with people who come on and they have arguments for creation science, and I think it's good, since we're in the middle of it, to be aware of certain type of arguments and rebuttals to what people bring up. There's one example that I want to bring up here in just a second that Steve is explained I don't know how many times to I don't know how many people, and those same people will come back on and make those same exact points. But to the people who watch